Okay, so I watched Babylon last night, and yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. Let's look into Babylon.
Come on, show the movie! Hey, down in front!
Nine!
Okay, so Babylon is an all-star cast movie, and it basically focuses on sort of like the glamour and the life of being on a movie set in the 1920s to the early 30s. And basically, you're following a bunch of characters who work in the film industry, and pretty much you get to see their rise into the ranks of Hollywood in this decade. Okay, so the thing I like about this movie is the cast. Like, I feel like the cast is really great in this movie. Like, you have a lot of, you know, like A-listers here. Like, you got Margot Robbie, you got Brad Pitt, you also got Tobey Maguire's in there as well. So it's kind of a really interesting all-star cast of people in this movie. And I gotta tell you what as well, like the trailers in this movie that I seen before I saw the movie, I was not expecting what else was in this movie as well. Now with the movie as well, like you do get a lot of what's in the trailers as well. Like you get the comedy aspect, you get the parties and all that stuff that you see in the trailers. But when I was watching the whole movie as well, like the movie is nearly 3 hours long, and there's other things that just make it feel like a completely different movie like halfway through watching this. Yeah, so when watching this movie, like I was in real fits laughing like towards all the comedy aspects in this movie, because like you do get a lot of the things that happen in the trailers, but when you get towards like halfway through the movie, it just becomes a different movie. Like it just gets into a 180 type of movie. Like there are heaps of moments in it as well which are very, very dark as well. And also, not to spoil anything if you guys want to see this movie, but yeah, like just the way that the movie sort of did that 180, I just was not expecting it the way to end. And another thing about this movie as well too, like it does really drag on a bit as well. Like I feel like there are a lot of scenes and a lot of things that happened in this movie that weren't really too necessary, you know, just to make the runtime longer. Like I feel like there were some bits and pieces that they could have cut out as well. But however, like with the darker moments in this movie as well, I do like that idea of these moments that happen in this movie as well. And you'll see what I mean as well. Like there's one moment in the movie where they tell one guy to do this thing, and then you see what thing they want to do, and then it just makes you very, very uncomfortable, and the character himself gets uncomfortable doing it, and then you're just like, oh yeah, like that's an interesting message to send, where it's like, yeah, there's all glitz and glamour, you know, there's parties, you know, there's ways to have fun times, but there's also that other side of Hollywood where it is dark, and it is at a time where a lot of that stuff, you know, like it's not okay now, but it was okay back then. And it's an interesting sort of brief history into that. But again, it's not the movie I was expecting to watch. Like I was expecting like a Hangover style slash, you know, Project X style type of party movie, like set in the 1920s and early 30s, like of Hollywood. But then like it just, yeah, like I said, it just slams the brakes and just gives you a completely different movie halfway through. And yeah, it was something that I was not expecting when watching this movie. Like granted as well too, like I said, I did enjoy like the comedy aspects of the movie, but yeah, like it's just like towards halfway through, I was not paying to watch like a drama like halfway through the movie. I was paying to watch like a comedy style, you know, movie about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood back in the 20s. But yeah, it just like ended up becoming this separate type of movie, which granted I like the idea, but they could have just kept going with the comedy aspects of it as well. Like have a couple of, you know, drama style moments. But yeah, it just felt like it wasn't sure whether if it was a comedy or whether it was a drama, you know, and it barely like, I felt like it barely like became a dramedy. Like it was really unique how they pretty much did that with this movie. Now, overall with this movie, I do feel like, yes, I love the comedy aspects in this movie that were advertised. But again, I just wasn't sure like how the movie was gonna go after halfway through the movie. Like, I mean, like I said, it turned from a comedy straight into a drama. You know, like the cast is great in it as well. Like, I love Margot Robbie in it, Brad Pitt in it as well. But yeah, overall, like, I felt like, you know, the way that they ended this movie, they were dragging it on. It was, I felt like it was just a bit too long, and also it felt like that they couldn't really figure out a way to end this movie, so it just kept going on and on. But overall with this movie, I do feel like it's a movie you may like, but I feel like it's a movie you're only going to watch once. So what did you guys think of Babylon? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow my socials up here as well, and as always, as I say at the end of these videos, get me some goddamn M&Ms.
Come on, show the movie! Hey, down in front!
9!